Hello everyone. Welcome to Astroreader PH and thanks for dropping by for some symbology. Today we're going to talk about the movie Wrath of Man and its deeper meaning. Wrath of Man is a 2021 film by Ritchie with Jason Statham in the lead role. It's about this mysterious figure called H who starts a risky job in a company that transports money, but secretly is some sort of an avenging angel looking for justice. This movie has a wealth of hidden symbolism. Primarily, it's all about masculinity. It's a treatise on what being a man is all about, the good and the bad, and how to achieve enlightenment as a man. Obviously, I'm not a man, so I must humbly submit that I may get some things wrong here and there. But on my part as an experienced astrologer and amateur symbologist, I really like this movie and saw a lot of hidden meanings behind it. For example, what do the number 8 and Saturn have to do with it? This is my first video on symbolism, and I hope you like it. But before that, I gotta give you a giant spoiler alert. So let's get into it. Wrath of Man is an esoteric film. There's a lot of hidden meaning behind it, and the opening credits sequence clearly points that out to the viewer. By the way, this is probably one of the best opening credits sequences I've ever seen. Let's talk about that epic intro, shall we? If that doesn't get your blood pumping to watch the movie, I don't know what will. The Wrath of Man opening credits / title sequence is a masterpiece of art, music, and symbolism. It's got stuff like the Grim Reaper, Lucifer, and even Moses, allegorical, symbolic things. Later, we'll go deeper into that intro and what some of these symbols may mean. We have a specific part just for that because it's so rich with symbols. For now, let's just look at the very title itself, Wrath of Man. We see a close-up of an eye here, which is a symbol often used when revealing secret knowledge. So this focus on the eye when flashing the title puts great emphasis on this symbol. A title is part of the core identity of a film, and much thought is invested in its presentation. Basically, this shows that the eye is the core identity of this film. Another thing about this title is that there are two upright triangles. They're in the middle of the words wrath and man. In esoteric tradition, upright triangles symbolize masculine energy, while upside-down triangles, femininity. I know I speak about the letter A here, but this is a usual way to veil these symbols. You may find that in many movie or show titles, there'll be one or so emphasized A's, usually in the center. Such movies usually depict masculine themes, like duty, heroism, war, institutions, fraternities, corporations, fatherhood, government, or espionage. Usually, esoteric movies. It appears a lot in sci-fi as well, since science fiction is also related to hidden knowledge. After all, most scientific developments are kept top secret, except to a select few. On the other hand, when a movie deals with hugely feminine themes, like inner strength, relationships, motherhood, emotions, the supernatural or otherworldly, chaos or extinction, anarchy and rebellion, you may find upside-down triangles, V's, W's as well because W's are two V's, and W stands for woman. Wrath of Man has two of these center A's, which implies that its theme is heavily masculine, doubly so. Now this doesn't happen in all titles, just in some. It takes some practice to get them. You gotta look at the movie as a whole. But as you can see, the intro itself implies that this movie isn't just telling a story about normal human characters. Nope. There are references to mythology, the Bible even. It's veiled allegory, like a parable. That probably explains why the acting is a little off, as some critics have said. If it seems a little bit one-dimensional, it's because the characters aren't really playing real people. They're playing archetypes in this parable, and the parable is about manhood. Let's get this straight. Wrath of Man is a man's film. In fact, there aren't many women in it, and the one female here with a semi-significant role, Dana, has some sort of a masculine vibe. She has short hair, she's tough, she looks after herself, and she's trying to fit into this manly job surrounded by men. By the way, the logo of their company, Fortico, is another male symbol. The winged sun disk symbolizes solar energy, male energy. The sun, after all, is also a masculine symbol. And the wing symbol has been used in male-dominated societies or even company logos throughout history. Speaking of logos, here's another cash-struck company in the movie with a triangle as a logo. And here's the orange Delta Security logo. So are they just out of ideas or are they trying to tell us something? Anyway, the film has this feeling of being exclusively for men. Women aren't welcome here. This is a man's world. The rare times that they're shown, the women here are portrayed as weak, emotional, powerless, naive, subservient, undisciplined, or needy, unable to govern or protect themselves, needing leadership, protection, or guidance. At some point, the film even straight out tells them to shut up.
The point of the game is to get the ball in the hole.
The point of a woman is to shut the fuck up, Dana.
Now, this isn't to say that all women are like this in real life. Remember, this is an allegory. We are being shown negative feminine archetypes to emphasize masculine energy. Subconsciously, the film is showing us that the world needs more people who will man up. In fact, there is even a short discourse in the film about how far men have declined in these modern times.
I can picture it now. A paragon of modern man on a wild sojourn, stalking down the aisles, hunting for Pop-Tarts. What has the world come to? A direct line of evolution, from Paleolithic man to a diabetic house husband.
It seems a little out of place, which could confuse some audiences who are viewing this movie literally instead of an allegory about modern man. And there's also this scene with men talking about how bored they are, that all they do is watch TV.
Wake up late, watch TV, drink a beer and watch more TV.
We're built for combat, not daytime TV.
So the film looks at modern men today with disdain, and it's demonstrated its view of the modern man through the supporting male characters, each of them showing various male archetypes. And we're gonna cover these archetypes of modern man in a while, right after we answer one burning question. Who is H? The biggest mystery of the movie, perhaps, is who is H? Yes, we know what he is in the movie. He's supposed to be this really powerful, secretive crime lord. But remember, we're watching an allegory here. It's not a literal story, and there's a deeper meaning. The first clue we have of his identity is from the movie itself. The first chapter is entitled, A Dark Spirit. And we know early on that the spirit that they're referring to is H.
But if he's not a cop, what is he?
He's a dark fucking spirit.
So the film is straight out telling us, H is not human, he's an entity. In fact, unlike the other characters, we don't really see him eat or drink, even when he's around food or liquor. We don't see him sleep or have intercourse. We don't even see him unconscious, even when he's riddled with bullets on the ground. Except for that one time when he's in the hospital, but he snapped out of that real quick. So H is an otherworldly figure. He's tireless, and he doesn't stop until the work is done. The next clue we have is his name, H. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. In astrology, the 8th sign is Scorpio. Scorpio in the 8th house relates to death, power, sex, debt, other people's money, the occult, transformation, danger, and throughout the movie, H deals a lot in these areas. In fact, H's struck number reduces to 8 in numerology. So H is the angel of death, the Grim Reaper, and the opening credits hints to that. In astrology and mythology, death, or the Grim Reaper, is mostly associated with Saturn, and Saturn is a significant figure in the occult. In astrology, Saturn rules many things, including the patriarchy, fatherhood, leaders, institutions, and karma. He is often connected with the D word, who is often portrayed as wearing a suit. After all, Saturn rules corporations and executives too. This is probably why the movie poster depicts H in a business suit, even though he doesn't wear them a lot in the movie. Saturn is also called Father Time, which is why we see an hourglass on H's desk. One of its main symbols is the cube. That's why the focal art piece in H's office is made up of cube art. Yes, those are cubes. I checked. Saturn is also associated with the number 6. It's the 6th planet from the Sun, and there's a hexagon on it. That's actually why the cube is associated with Saturn. A cube has 6 faces, and if you look at it a certain way, it turns into a hexagon. By the way, H gets followed around by number 6 too.
You were in an accident. You were shot at. 6 bullets.
Saturn's color is black, which is why we often see H wearing or surrounded by black. In fact, the climax of the film takes place on Black Friday. That's where most of the blood was shed. Blood sacrifice, anyone? I think Black Friday is secretly devoted to Saturn. Aside from the color reference, it's mainly devoted to consumerism, and Saturn is the god of the material world, the Matrix. Plus, all this shopping is done to commemorate his season, Saturnalia, which is the real origin of Christmas. Just as Father Christmas is Saturn. Saturn Claus. But that's another story. Saturn is exalted in Libra, so Saturn best expresses itself in Libra. And Libra is all about justice and fairness, commitment. Once again, we get a clue from the opening credits. Some sources say that in ancient times, Scorpio was intimately related to Saturn. Scorpio, the 8th sign, death and destruction, purging to cleanse. Which is why H is being depicted as so destructive and merciless. Saturn is indeed merciless. Saturn is results-oriented. He doesn't care about the effort, just the achievement. Just like how it's like in the world of men.
Not good enough. You started by saying you'd do anything. But what I'm hearing is, you think you've done everything.
So H is Saturn personified. He's like the angel of death incarnate, exacting his justice upon the men of Earth. In fact, Mars, the masculine planet, is exalted in Capricorn, the sign ruled by Saturn, which is indirectly saying that masculine energy expresses its highest form when tempered by Saturn. The Grim Reaper reaps what we sow, which is why Saturn also rules karma. Since Saturn rules karma, H goes around as judge, jury, and executioner. We can see him test people and observe how they would act on their free will. He doesn't really force them to do anything, though he sometimes forces them to make choices, and they get evaluated for how they measure up to the task. Sometimes he would dole out punishment, other times rewards. It depends on how well people do on the test. And when he catches people in the act of doing terrible things, let's just say he purges them from the earth.
How old are these girls?
Not old enough.
And he does the dirtiest deeds himself, to the point of even disturbing his own men. Saturn is a utilitarian, the end justifies the means type, for the greater good kind of energy. Naturally, since H is the one delivering justice, he's supposed to set a good example, so he's treated as the ideal male archetype by the film. When it comes to the film and its hidden meaning, we can surmise that H represents the ideal man. According to Wrath of Man, the ideal man should be disciplined with good self-control, as H keeps himself in good shape. We don't see him drink or smoke or have any vices. He always has the top button buttoned up. Next, he's strong and tough, able to protect himself and others if need be. He's also independent. He lives alone and is the lone wolf type. He runs his own business. He's fearless. He's a man of few words. He's not emotional or easily influenced by moods or feelings. He doesn't show any feelings at all. He's protective of the weak, like women and young people. He's secure in himself, confident, but not to the point of being egoistic. He's focused and committed to get the job done. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty. And he doesn't care about credit or recognition. Speaking of job, the man's a professional. He gives his work the proper attention and respect, no matter his station. He's mature and responsible. He keeps structure and order. He operates within the bounds of his place in whatever hierarchy he's in. He's authoritative but not bossy. Judging by the books in his study, He's intellectual and cultured as well. He even plays chess. He seems to operate under some sort of unspoken creed as well. He has principles and a moral code. He's wise and sharp, wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. That is, except for troublemakers. Most importantly, he takes fatherhood seriously. He spends quality time with his kid and actually has a relationship with him. And in connection with, or because of this, he's also a good leader. So that's what the movie perceives as the ideal man. Many of these are also qualities linked to Saturn energy. So H is an authority on manhood. He goes around acting as judge, jury, and executioner. He doesn't force his will on people. He just weighs their deeds.
What do you want us to do?
You can do whatever you fucking like.
As he does that, we see some of the male archetypes we talked about. I don't have time to cover all the supporting characters, so let's just discuss a couple of them. Dave is an educated young man, but he has mistaken education for knowledge and wisdom, as he's still pretty naive about the real world, and immature. He's also still dependent on his mom.
He was staying at his mom's.
She knows how I like my eggs.
But he has shown eagerness to learn and some dedication to his work. Plus, he's more or less a good kid, so H is pretty gentle to him, even fatherly. In the end, his naivete killed him, but he died bravely, inspired by the example set by H. Sarge is disciplined enough and hard worker. He's a soldier, but he doesn't make an effort to grow his mind. As can be seen in his house, the books are mostly for women and children, so he doesn't seem to read much. But his biggest flaw is probably that he lacks leadership skills. He depends on his wife for mostly everything, and doesn't want to have much to do with his family. He spends most of his free time hanging out drinking with his men, like they're in college. So he's also lacking in the fatherhood department. And this also makes him an ineffective leader. He depends on his men to do most of the work for him, and he lacks the authority to discipline or control his rebellious subordinates. This killed him in the end. And his men, except for Jan, are mostly bored and directionless. They don't have a higher calling or ambition. They're also somehow immature like their leader, like boys who want to go out and play, instead of grow up and take responsibility. They aren't so sharp and cautious either, so in the end they were all outsmarted and killed. Here's an interesting one. Bullet. He seemed like a good husband and dad. Very committed.
You're just unhappy I'm happy.
Yeah, only man I know that married the first woman he banged.
Hard worker. Good sense of humor. He seemed disciplined and sharp enough. And he's verbose, so he's a thinker. Unfortunately, he's a backstabbing traitor. A snake. He even killed Dana and Dave. Still, he got outclassed by a superior, sharper evil. More on that later. Agent King is some sort of boss at the Bureau. So, in the man world, he's achieved some. And he has a history with H. They seem to have a mutual respect and understanding.
Money doesn't mean a thing to him.
The divine masculine likes structure and order. Amazingly, they've managed to create structure and order between their respective territories, even though they're supposed to be against each other. They stay put as long as certain lines don't get crossed. That takes a lot of maturity and wisdom from both sides, considering the levels of leadership and responsibility that they're in. At their level, you can't have impulsive hotheads leading the charge, or the system will collapse. An interesting case, Jerome. H had him tortured so he'd give him a lead, but he's also the only person that H sincerely complimented in the film.
I hear you're a tough lad and a hard worker. Good for you.
He didn't even do that to his own son. So that right there shows you that this guy is special. H approves of Jerome. He shows toughness and fearlessness, and apparently works hard. They too have a mutual understanding. Something interesting Jerome said.
But you did not hear this from me, and if you did, kill me now.
Strange, isn't it? Almost like he knew H wasn't really gonna kill him. He understood the kind of man that H was, because he was like that too. He knew H was just doing what he's supposed to do, as a man who had his son killed and is looking for justice. H knew him as well. That's how he thought of using his woman against him, to break him. H knew that the kind of men they were could take any beating, but will do anything when it comes to the one they love. That's what made him go scorched earth in the first place. And indeed, Jerome did break upon that threat and gave in. But even then, no respect was lost from H. He knew he would have done the same. So when the deed was done and the test was finished, the angel of death rewarded Jerome for being man enough.
Give him 200 grand. Leave the keys in the car.
There are so many other characters that depict different kinds of men, and I can't go over them all. So let's focus on the biggest one. H's main adversary in the movie is Jan, the guy who killed his son. Jan is strong and a hard worker. He's sharp, intelligent, and cunning. He has good taste as well, which implies culture. The problem is he only looks out for himself. Jan isn't a team player and has no concept of the greater good. He doesn't seem to have a moral creed or so, no fear of a higher power. Self-discipline is a little low as he drinks, spends, and smokes a lot. We can see this in his man cave, for lack of a better term, which is also quite different from H's. While Jan's territory is pretty extravagant and self-oriented, H is understated, tasteful, and elegant. There is restraint, and there's space for human interactions. Jan doesn't seem to care about fatherhood or leadership either, based on his bachelor lifestyle. In fact, he stole H's fatherhood from him. He was dangerous to the order of things, so to the judge, jury, and executioner, H, he was a threat that had to be eliminated. Jan and H have another big difference as well. Jan's left eye is quite emphasized in the film. It has a scar by it. In the occult, the left eye is the eye of Horus, or the eye of Thoth. It represents feminine energy, including cunning and rebellion, lunar or yin energy, hidden power. During the scene where Jan killed H's son, we can see a close-up of their eyes. Jan, with his left eye emphasized, and H on the ground with his right eye. The right eye is the eye of Ra, symbolizing masculine energy, solar energy, yang, external strength and power. He was operating purely on the eye of Ra, apparent power. He underestimated his opponent's hidden power and he lost his son. Soon after that, he goes overdrive on masculine energy. He uses his apparent power to go scorched earth to find Jan. He pushes his men to use brute force, solar energy, violence. There's no cunning here. It's a pure, unadulterated show of force. And it doesn't work. He doesn't find Jan. In order to beat this opponent, he had to use a different strategy. So he starts using feminine energy, yin energy. He goes undercover using cunning. For the first time, he engages the help of a woman, Christy, who by the way is oozing with lunar, feminine energy. She does investigative work and helps him with his disguise. We start seeing H become more cunning. He starts using surprise attacks and disguises. He learns to hide his power, act weaker than he is. He starts doing spy work and even sleeps with the target to get some information. This is the winning strategy that eventually leads him to Jan. And it minimized collateral damage as a bonus. Towards the end of the movie, the masculine-ruled Depot has been defeated by feminine-ruled Jan and his team. They have been infiltrated by cunning, but this time, H has learned a trick or two about cunning. He first uses the enemy's own disguise against them, which lets him get a few guys. Now he wields both apparent and hidden power, and uses them interchangeably. And when overpowered, he lays low. Soon, we find out that he's been clever enough to track the money with his cell phone, which helps him locate Jan. Again, with cunning, H snuck up on him when he was vulnerable. What's interesting about this is that wielding both masculine and feminine energy is a Saturnian expression. Saturn combines the male and female archetypes into one. When you combine the upright and upside down triangles, you get a hexagram, Saturn symbol. It's the concept of duality symbolized by a checkerboard black and white pattern, which we see throughout the movie. So what this movie is also about is H's journey from pure solar energy towards duality, from Sun to Saturn. This is a Masonic concept, which is probably why H's real name is Mason. This Masonic concept of duality can be seen in many movies, shows, and music videos if you look closely. Anyway, at the end of the movie, H shoots Jan in the liver, lungs, spleen, and heart, just exactly where he shot H's son. It was just payback, karmic return. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's it. Thanks for watching. The symbolism of Wrath of Man. I'm sure I missed a lot of symbols here. It's hard to do this film justice. If you see some I missed, leave a comment down below. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with the awesome opening credits of the movie, with my analysis of the wealth of symbolism in it. I'll be flashing it quickly, so you may have to pause every now and then. Please like and subscribe if you like this. Thanks. Goodbye.